And here we go. Welcome back to episode 19, believe it or not, with your host, Brantt Myhres, from our little tribe, little community podcast, hashtag UnHammered. How many of you guys stayed unhammered the last 7 days, as we always chat about? I did. I stayed unhammered the last 7 days. And I don't need those yet. But anyways, anybody that's driving, as we always try and do before we get the show going, is we have a little cheers. And cheers to those who have made it another week. Cheers to those who have made it a month, a year. And cheers to those especially who have made it one day, 24 hours without drinking or taking a drug. Cheers to you, everybody. Wow. I can't feel that. You guys know that. I can't feel that coffee. And I'll tell you why. It was a fucking traumatizing experience today. It was. I went to the dentist. I'm not dead. I'm here. I'm talking to you, so I'm not dead. But I can't feel this side of my face. My tongue's getting better. But anyways, I got out of the chair a couple hours ago, and I've been dreading it. But we're going to read a prayer for the day before we get into my fears and my anxiety that have controlled my life at times. Back on the glasses, go. And we're going to do a prayer for the day. And again, those of you who are new on the journey and don't have a faith yet, or believe in God, or believe in something that's stronger than yourself, no problem. Do something for 20 seconds. Okay, prayer for the day. I pray that I may attain a state of true calmness in the dentist chair. I pray that I may live in quietness and peace. Amen to that. I pray that I may live in quietness and peace. How many of you appreciate quietness and peace and sobriety? I know I do. Wow. Quite a lot better than chaos and destruction and basically all the other fears that go along with it. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to try and do my best today. Hopefully I don't look too bad on this side. She's frozen. And I don't sound too bad, but so we had the prayer for the day. And then where is my phone? We had some messages that I wanted to get to. Brantt, just leave these on. You're fucking 50. You don't have to take them off every time. Okay? You're trying to act like you don't need them, and you do. You can't see, bud. You can't see. Anyways, so let's get to some messages. This lady's name is Christina. Thank you so much for your podcast. I'm very grateful. I just moved back to a small town in Saskatchewan. I have been struggling with depression and anxiety. I have as well, and I do too. Despite having a few 24 under my belt, today I needed to hear that prayer, the one we said last week. You opened with, and how grateful I am for that. Sober self-care. We chatted about that, right? Walking my dog with my son outside in nature, especially in the evening, watching the sunset. Nice. Okay, that was good. And then this guy's name is, what is it? Justin T. Good job, brother, spreading the word. 1,050 days sober today. Atta boy, Justin T. Have a good one. I just wanted to acknowledge to you that I appreciate the messages you're sending. Take care and God bless. Thank you, Justin, for that that nice message, and congrats on your sobriety, my friend. Here's another one. Jonathan L. Hey, Brantt, I just wanted to touch base and say how great the podcast is. I'm currently struggling with alcohol, and listening to your podcast helps me understand that I am not alone in this disease, and it can affect anyone. Hey, Jonathan, I'll tell you what, just by you writing that word disease in, buddy, you got a chance here. You got a chance, because that's like, I don't know, a big part of this battle in our brains is that we have to understand that this thing is a disease, and it's as serious as as one like cancer or any of the other serious illnesses and diseases that will bury you. So you know what? By you writing disease, good for you. You'll get this. Your book will be my next purchase. Cool. Thank you for what you do. No, thank you, Jonathan, for what you do. And we have another one here. I don't know. RD. We'll just call him RD. How about RD? Hey, Brantt, I really enjoyed the podcast. Not sure if you remember me, but we go back a little ways. Cool. I'm proud to say that it will be 4 years in December without me having a drink. It's been the most amazing 4 years and the best thing I've ever done for myself. Wow. Congrats, RD. That's amazing. 4 years. Wow. Like I said, I've had 4 years, and it's every coin is cool. Every birthday's awesome. So it's great. We got one from Hunter P. Hey man, I just hit my 3-year sobriety today. Gives me one of these. Awesome, Hunter. Congrats, buddy. Congrats on 3. What else we got here? Let's see. Hey Brantt, who's this? Lane H. Hey Brantt, I'm a big fan of the pod. Leading up to finding your pod, I was a daily pot user for a couple of years. I have two boys. I'm sorry, and when I heard you talking about being a present and father, it really hit home. And I wanted to do better for them. My oldest son, just under 3, was born with some health issues, and it's been a roller coaster. And most of my weed use is self-medicating to manage my stress and anxiety that has been really bad since he's been born. Oh boy. We have been going through a cancer battle with him for the last 1.5 years, and he is getting surgery tomorrow to remove his tumor. Fuck me, and I'm not bitching about my mouth or anything because it hurts like a motherfucker right now. It really does. It's pounding. But you hear this: a little boy going in for he's got cancer, tumor. Lane H, our prayers are out with you. Oh my God. It could always be worse. And like I said, all of us here on the podcast will be saying a prayer for your boy. Mitch, this is the last one. I'm a huge fan. I've been sending your book to my friends and recently listened to it twice. So you listen to the audiobook. Cool. I like that version too. As a former hockey player, diehard Spokane Chiefs fan, I struggled with alcoholism. God, along with credible people like you, have helped straighten me out and made life abundant and wonderful experience after building up from the depths of hell. Hey guys, why don't we read that? Why don't we read that one more time? God, along with incredible people, I'm not going to add me in there, but incredible people have helped straighten me out and made life an abundant and wonderful experience after building back up from the depths of hell. So if that doesn't tell you guys what this thing is that we struggle with in our lives, some days it's not a struggle. It's not. Some weeks it's not, but sometimes it is. Thank you for the follow and great content. Thanks, man. Mitch, thank you so much for that. That's amazing. Cool messages, hey? It really is. You know, those ones with the children, they get me choked up. Because I have them. Man, it's the first time I can't taste coffee. I can't taste it. I know it's going down because that side of my throat isn't numb anymore. It's just my tongue and my lips. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, hey, I want to give a shout out to a guy who I admire a lot, and we call him Papa Dale, and he's probably listening in BC in British Columbia right now. And Papa Dale is Kane's great grandfather, and he's an awesome soul, and really love the man. And he's 90 years old. Big Papa Dale. He could tell you every contract that was given out in the NHL last year. Build you a deck. He's pretty awesome. So I know he listens to the show, and Papa Dale, you know, doesn't like it when sometimes I say the F word. And I'm sorry, Papa. I'm sorry, but that's just how I talk. And again, I think they've got mute buttons on phones and stuff. I'll try to keep her down for you though. This one. Okay, so shout out to Papa Dale, bud. Thanks for watching. Okay, let's talk about anxiety, because that's a big one for me. And I think that I never understood what anxiety was until I was 40 years old, and I hit that. I had a panic attack playing in a poker game. I thought I was dying. My leg went numb. I started to kick a friend, and the ambulance came, and I couldn't breathe. Anyways, the ambulance shows up, and I said, "Am I dying? Like I can't breathe." He says, "No, Brantt, you're just having a panic attack." I said, "What the fuck is that?" Guys, you got to, like, so I fought 225 or 30 times in the National Hockey League. And yeah, I was nervous, but I didn't understand what the word anxiety meant. And people would talk about, oh, I had so much anxiety. I'm like, what the hell's anxiety? I don't know. I'm nervous, but I don't know what anxiety is. Anyways, so when that panic attack happened at 40, and they had me in the ambulance, they said, open up your mouth, and they put Ativan under my tongue. And in about 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes, it worked. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that was terrible. I never want to go through that again. I thought I was having a stroke. But what happened was, so this is 10 years ago, it reset all my circuits in Brantt Myhres' body and soul. And what I mean by that is I started to instantly have these fears in my life and anxieties and phobias. So all of a sudden I couldn't be in traffic because I couldn't, if I was stuck and I'm not moving, I can't get a way out, right? Airplanes. Fuck, I flew on them since I was 16 or 17 years old. And now I'm terrified to go in the air because I can't get out if something happens, right? I'll boil this down to where it's going. So traffic, airplanes. Oh, I got cut out in the desert in my Harley, and we got lost, Nevada. And I was out there for a few hours, and I thought I was going to die in the heat. It was fucking cooking. So I got a bit of a anxiety about that. If it's too hot outside, and then dentists. So all these things prior to my panic attack never bothered me. Could sit in the chair and get root canals, drive a Harley in 100-degree weather with my shirt off and some cowboy boots, fly to fucking Hong Kong. Didn't bother me. But at 40, it did. And it's stayed with me, and I've worked on myself, and I've gotten better. But I got to tell you, this dentist thing today. So I put this thing off for 4 or 5 months. Haven't been able to eat on this side of my mouth. And it's because of a phobia that I've had. When I went down to film Carey Price, I was supposed to get it done a couple of days prior. And I sort of pulled the plug on that. And it got to the point where on Monday, my pain was so bad that it was probably the worst, 20 hours of pain that I've had in my life. And that includes cutting my ass on the beer bottles and fucking snapping my ankle in half where my toes are pointing against the wall. That kind of pain didn't go away. And I'm like, oh boy, it needs to get done. So anyways, I didn't sleep last night. I had 2 hours of sleep. I'd wake up every 45 minutes and realize that it was coming. And it was horrible. And anyways, so I was in this fog this morning, and all I kept saying to myself is, Brantt, fear, what does it stand for, buddy? Come on, let's go. What does fear stand for? False evidence appearing real. Okay, say that again. False evidence appearing real. Okay, buddy, you got this. You've done this before. You're good. So I go into the chair. I know the needle's coming, right? I don't like needles either, but the doc freezes me up. And shout out to Signature Dental in Edmonton, Alberta. Those guys are amazing. Raphael, he's a champ. But I'm sitting there, and I got my headset on because I got to distract myself. And guys, my heart's beating 300 miles a minute. It's just ba-pump, ba-pump, ba-pump out of my fucking shirt. And I'm like, am I going to pass out here because of the anxiety is so fucking bad? I'm like, no, you're not going to, dude. You're going to take a deep breath and you're going to get through this. You're not going to give up. You're not going to let the fear and anxiety win this time. You're going to fight through it. So take a deep breath, relax, put on some music, and let them freeze your mouth up. You're going to be fine. So anyways, I do that. And I lay back and he goes in with the jab. And he starts rocking and rolling in there. I'm trying to touch myself to think if I'm still alive. You guys are like, oh, this big fighter. Look at him. I don't care. It is what it is. I am who I am. So anyways, he starts to freeze me up once and he pulls the plunge out. And he's like, we're going on her again. I'm like, okay. Whatever. Just fucking get her going. Just get this over with. So he sticks the plunger in my mouth again. And she freezes. Oh yeah, he hit I don't know where he went, but half of my face felt like Droopy the dog. I couldn't move. But anyway, so they go in there, and they fix my filling. It was a tooth that was cracked, a filling that was cracked. Well, the way they said, it's a fractured tooth. So, anyways, I'm here. It really hurts still. And, but I'm just so grateful that the pain that I'm feeling right now overrides anything because I stood up to the fear. So even though I'm going through pain right now, I stood up through the fear and I walked through the fire because I thought it was a fire. And you guys out there that deal with anxiety and depression, you understand that it's fight or flight. And sometimes, most of the time, those little things that people might think are little, you look at them as a fucking forest fire and get out. But I didn't get out. I stayed. And that's a big one for me. Okay. You guys ready? I am. I'm always ready for this. Boom. Big book of AA and NA. And I don't care if you're getting mad at me because I'm throwing that in. Oh, you guys. Oh, yeah, more about alcoholism. Well, we have another story. Okay, guys. And these stories are boiled down to how you can become insane. Because you have to sort of believe you can go there, right? Remember Jimbo? Remember him? He got hit by the car. He didn't make her, I don't think. Now we got Fred. Okay. So Fred is a partner in a well-known accounting firm. His income is good. He has a fine home, is happily married, and is of the father of children college age. He has so attractive a personality that he makes friends everywhere. If ever there was a successful businessman, it is Fred. To all appearance, he is a stable, well-balanced individual, yet he is alcoholic. We first saw Fred about a year ago in a hospital where he had gone to recover from a bad case of the jitters. It was his first experience of this kind, and he was much ashamed of it. Far from admitting he was an alcoholic, he told himself he came to the hospital to rest his nerves. The doctor immediately strongly suggested it might be worse than he realized. For a few days, he was depressed about his condition. He made up his mind to quit drinking altogether. It never occurred to him that perhaps he could not do so. In spite of his character and standing, Fred would not believe himself an alcoholic. Me either. Those are tough. Much less accept a spiritual remedy for his problem. Ooh, spiritual remedy. We told him what we knew about alcoholism. He was interested and conceded that he had some of the symptoms, but he was a long way from admitting that he could do nothing about it himself. He was positive that this humiliating experience, plus the knowledge he had acquired, would keep him sober the rest of his life. Self-knowledge would fix it. We heard no more of Fred for a while. One day we were told that he was back in the hospital. This time he was quite shaky. He soon indicated he was anxious to see us. The story he told is most instructive, for here was a chap absolutely convinced he had to stop drinking, who had no excuse for drinking, who exhibited splendid judgment and determination in all his other concerns, yet was flat on his back nevertheless. Powerlessness, as they say. Oh, folks, I'm sure there's so many of you that can relate to these readings that we do every week. Let him tell you about it, okay? This is Fred. I was much impressed with what you fellows said about alcoholism, and I frankly did not believe it would be possible for me to ever drink again. I rather appreciated your ideas about the substantial insanity which precedes the first drink, but I was confident it could not happen to me after what I had learned. That's self-knowledge again. I reasoned I was not so far advanced as most of you fellows, that I had been usually unsuccessful I had been successful in licking my other problems, and that I would therefore be successful where you men failed. Okay. Stubborn old guy. I felt I had every right to be self-confident, that it would be only a matter of exercising my will. Back to my will and keeping on guard. Interesting. In this frame of mind, I went about my business, and for a time as well, I had no trouble refusing drinks and began to wonder if I had not been making too hard of work a simple matter. One day I went to Washington to present some accounting evidence to a government bureau. I had been out of town before, particularly on a dry spell. There was nothing new about that. Physically, I felt fine. Neither did I have any pressing problems or worries. My business came off well. I was pleased and knew my partners would be too. At the end of the perfect day, not a cloud in the horizon. Here we go. I went to my hotel and leisurely dressed for dinner. As I crossed the threshold of the dining room, the thought came to mind that it would be nice to have a couple cocktails with dinner. That was all. Nothing more. I ordered a cocktail and my meal. Then I ordered another cocktail. After dinner, I decided to take a walk. When I returned to the hotel, it struck me a highball would be fine before going to bed, so I stepped into the bar and I had one. I remember having several more that night and plenty the next morning. I have a shadowy recollection of being in an airplane bound for New York and of finding a taxi cab and landing field instead of my wife. The driver escorted me for about, The driver escorted me about for several days. What? This guy went missing for several days? Really? I know little of where I went or what I said and did. Then came the hospital with unbearable mental and physical suffering. Jeez, that's crazy. Okay, where are we here? Here we go. We got a little paragraph. As soon as I regained my ability to think, I went carefully over that evening in Washington. This is what we all do. Not only had I been off guard, I had made no fight whatsoever against the first drink. This time I had not thought of the consequences at all. We very rarely do, friends. We very rarely think of the consequences once we decide to take that first sip or that first snort or that first hit of smack, whatever it is. Here we go. I had commenced to drink as carelessly as though the cocktails were ginger ale. I now remembered what my alcoholic friends had told me, how they prophesied that if I had an alcoholic mind, the time and place would come, okay, we're getting to the end, where I would drink again. They had said that though I did raise a defense, it would one day give away before some trivial reason for having a drink. Crazy. Well, just that did happen and more. For what I had learned of alcoholism did not occur to me at all. I knew from the moment that I had an alcoholic mind. I saw that willpower and self-knowledge would not help in those strange mental blank spots. I had never been able to understand people who said that a problem had them so helplessly defeated. I knew then it was a crushing blow. Wow, that was great. Man, don't we go through so many, excuses, right? And trivial games we play with ourselves. Once you surrender, you win to this thing. That's a crazy thing, right? Once you surrender, you win. What do you guys think about pushing through hard times? What do you guys do when times get tough? I think that if you talk to anybody that's been sober any length of time, and that includes 30 days, guys, because 30 days is tough to get. You can look at an addict or an alcoholic, and you can say that they're fucking strong. They're strong-willed people. They just are. When the chips are down, they get up. The ones that actually surrender to win, they get up and they do whatever it takes to keep moving forward in the right direction. And so yeah, you meet an alcoholic or a drug addict that takes a 60-day chip. Oh my God, yeah, he's pushing through hard times. He is, right? But I just wanted to get your opinion on what you guys do. It feels like there's only a couple real options for us that are recovering, right? It's turn it over, pray about it, not drink or use no matter what. Like that's just the basis of the program. No matter what, don't drink or use. But I think when we talk about pushing through hard times, just chat with an addict or an alcoholic, and they are some strong-spirited people. They really are. This is a big one for me. Breaking the cycle of addiction. And what does that entail? What does that look like for you guys? To me, it was probably one of the biggest motivators in me getting sober was breaking that cycle. And again, it wasn't necessarily a major, horrible cycle when it came to my dad or my mom, or my grandparents. I told you my grandparents were alcoholic. They drank every night, but they never missed a day's work, and they never abused me. They loved me and took care of me. And excuse me, there's a lot of functioning people that drink daily, and they were two of them. But I think when it comes to breaking a cycle, that I was so afraid of the path that I was going down. I knew that if I didn't stop the cycle with Brantt, that Chloe doesn't have a father, and neither does Kaner. And I don't know how many people are showing up at my funeral, but I'm having one. I'm going to have a funeral for sure. So it was important for me to, get some length and get some proof behind my words, because at one point my words meant nothing to anybody, and I didn't blame them for not believing me right off the bat. It took time to do that, but I think when did people start taking me serious? 2 years sober. Yeah. 2 years, they started to go, oh, maybe he's getting it this time, So breaking the cycle of addiction, and people will probably have way worse stories when it comes to the family than I did. I had physical abuse and stuff though, right? From a stepfather that was not sober. And I guess there's a cycle right there. But anyways, to me, it was big to have my children, when they get older, to say that we've never seen daddy drink. We've never seen daddy do drugs. We've never seen daddy, lay a hand on us or, any of the things that happen in the unhealthy environments. I just didn't want my children to say that. And what else do we got here? Okay. What about, how do you find letting go of shame and guilt? And what are the things that you do? I think for me, I like when I ask you these questions, I'm going to respond on what I do. And I had to do I didn't really believe in therapy, but I had to do a lot of it. And I had to find a therapist that I liked. And then I had to get into this thing, guys, the big book of AA or NA. And I had to do the steps, and I had to get honest, and I had to, right? And what do you mean you had to? I had to, or I was going to die. Really, you had to, Brantt? You had to go to a meeting a day for your... Yes, I did. You had to do the steps because they told you if you didn't do the steps, you were going to drink again. Yes, I had to. And you're going to have to too, if you're new. So as far as shame goes, I was working with a therapist, and I just got honest with them. I said, I'm a fucking pig, and I'm a liar, and I don't want to be that anymore. I don't. He goes, well, how many days you got sober? 3. Okay, cool. Well, you started somewhere. All right, let's get 4 tomorrow, and then we'll talk tomorrow. And I did that. And we talked on day 4. And then we talked on day 5. And the next thing you know, we talk on day 30. And Brandt's starting to change. And I'm starting to let go of that shame and that guilt and the remorse that I've had from 5 treatment centers, being suspended for life from the National Hockey League, being the only player. Blowing all my money, having grade 9 education. I'm starting to let go of the shame of the was it my fault that my parents didn't really want me around, getting sexually abused at 10 and all this kind of stuff, I'm starting to let go. And when I was working with a therapist, it helped because I could just talk and I didn't worry about if somebody was judging me. So that's how I got rid of my guilt and shame. It just, there's so many things that I wish I could sort of maybe go back and change, but I can't. And they made me who I am today. And so I guess what story are we going to tell today? Well, maybe we'll tell the firewood story. My poor sister, my poor grandma. Anyways, another Sylvan Lake story. So I was out at Sylvan Lake, and we were having a big fire out in the back, and my grandma and grandpa were staying overnight, and my sister Cheryl was there, and my mom was there too. So the whole family was at my house in Sylvan Lake, and we were having a fire, and by this time it was probably 9:00 at night, and we started drinking early on, and I remember seeing a 40 of whiskey finished, so I was going hard that afternoon, and we were sitting there and we're listening to country music and smoking cigarettes, and all of a sudden I looked at the fire and the fire was starting to go down. I'm like, fuck! I go, where's the firewood? And they're like, oh, Mizey, we got no firewood left. I'm like, well, I'm going to get some. They're like, where are you going to get firewood? I'm like, well, that tree stump over there. I said, I'm going to go pull it out. They're like, no, you're not. You can't pull a tree stump out. I said, I'm going to. So anyways, I get up, I walk over to this tree stump in my yard, and I bend down and I grab it, and I'm yanking on it, I'm pulling it, I'm trying to get it up, and next thing you know, this frickin' root goes flying, and the momentum of the tree, when it comes up, it throws my forehead straight down into the dirt. And what happens at that point is that there's a layer of skin on my forehead that's peeling off, and I think I've got a robe on, and so now I'm bleeding all over my robe, and I hear the lights go on in my house, and it's my grandpa and my grandma. And my grandpa walks outside in his underwear, and he's like, Jesus Christ, Brent, get over here right now. So, sorry, Gramp. So I walk over, and my grandma's up there, and I walk upstairs, and I'm standing there, and I'll never forget. I'm standing there. My grandma has this, she just saw the Exorcist look on her face. There I am in this robe with skin peeling off my forehead and blood everywhere. And she's like, what, Brant, were you trying to do? And I said, Grandma, I just needed firewood. Okay. And I had to pull the tree out. So my sister says something to me, and we start bickering back and forth, and that doesn't go well as brother and sister fighting. And then they get up and they finally, they go, we're leaving. They got up and they got a hotel in Red Deer, Alberta. And, man, oh man, that was embarrassing, very embarrassing in my days of, my usage. They were supposed to be there for the weekend, and they went and got a hotel in Red Deer. They thought I was too dangerous. And, we just talked about the shame and the guilt and the remorse. Well, there it is, guys. I had to work on that story too. And, I wasn't proud of, some of those things that happened, but hey, I'm sober today and I don't do those things. And, I bet you, people that are along this journey with me, they don't do those types of things either, ripping, roots out of the ground. But anyways, guys, I tried to get through it for you today, man. She's throbbing. Oh, okay. So you guys have an amazing week. And I told you I was going to come back here and record for you guys after the dentist, and I did. So have an awesome week. Hashtag UnHammered for 7 days. And you guys keep writing in because I love, reading out the quotes or the questions, sorry. And have a great week. And I can't wait to see you guys soon, okay? You guys take care. Thanks.